Owl Nation, that is 4 straight wins. Count them, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 in a row. Your FAU Owls come back down 9 against the Temple Owls in the Battle of the Owls. What a win for FAU. A big comeback, down 9 points, ending up winning the game. There was a little scare at the end. Temple cut it down to 4, but a 79-73 victory in a strong second half. FAU was down 4 at the half, and it was a strong second half for FAU. Firing on all cylinders towards the end of the game, the perimeter shooting was able to improve. We saw Kanan Carlisle and Xander Pinto hit their spots from downtown. Overall, what's your instant reaction, Hudson, to this huge win? And that's 4 in a row.
Well, my instant reaction is, I'm going to leave it with one word, is fight. FAU fought everything they had, and they left it all on the court. They were outscored 34-30 at the end of the half, down by 4. And then, JJ, I'm happy to report that at the end of the second half, at the end of the game, they outscored the Temple Owls 49-39. So they showed insane fight through a game that wasn't easy. It wasn't handed to them. There was 11 lead changes in this game, and they were able to get it done on the road for a big win.
You mentioned the 11 lead changes. A lot of that has to do with poor officiating, and we'll get into that later. There were some missed calls. You guys, if you follow me over on X, a lot of people tuning in on right now on this live stream come from the X. You see, I wasn't pleased with the officiating. A lot of fouls called. Temple got to the line, shot 32 free throws today. So that's not ideal compared to FAU just shooting 24. But yes, this game was back and forth. 11 lead changes. But let's talk about this guy, Josiah Parker. Look at this stat line, Hudson. 24 minutes, 22 points, and 12 rebounds. Are you kidding me? A freshman, highest recruit to come to FAU. We usually get into individual players towards the end of shows, but I want to talk about Josiah first because, man, I don't think we win this game without him. If Josiah doesn't commit to FAU this offseason, I don't think that FAU comes away with a victory. Let's talk about him, Hudson. What are your thoughts on Josiah, and what do you think his potential could be coming off the bench and really bringing that spark plug for the Owls?
I highly agree with you, JJ. I mean, I was watching the broadcast, and towards the end of the game, the announcer was like, Josiah Parker, this guy's everywhere, and I couldn't agree more. He was literally everywhere. Every play, he was finishing it. There was no plays that he left out there. He had an insane N1 to end the game towards the end with about, I think, 30 seconds left, I'd say, which really threw the dagger in the Temple Owls. But coming off the bench and putting up 22 points in 24 minutes is an absolute astounding stat line. I mean, you don't see that a lot, JJ. I can't stress to you how amazing that is. And to have that guy on FAU's side, like you said, one of the highest recruits in FAU basketball history, to get him on the Owls, it looks like we could make a deep run with him on our side and coming off the bench. Might even have a starter role now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hudson. I want to highlight that one play that you mentioned, which was a Xander Pinto steal turnover that FAU had. Xander Pinto instantly does a little bounce pass across the court to Kanan, and Kanan just makes an amazing pass that is down low to Parker. He gets it at the left block. He does one dribble and then kind of just lays it in and gets that and one. That is a huge momentum change right there. That was one where you could see the whole bench celebrating. It was going crazy. They silenced the crowd. And I think, that play really showed that Josiah is clutch in those big moments, in those big times. Not only him was coming off the bench giving a spark plug. Let's talk about Maxime Logui, the Oregon State transfer from France. This is a guy who we weren't very high on. 10 first half points. He was really dominating the first half. 12 total points. I really liked, what we saw from him today. He was really able to dominate down low. And he has a very wide frame and a very long wingspan. And you could see that on defense. He was one of those guys who, yes, he got into foul trouble late in the game, but he was really playing aggressive defense, and you like to see that from FAU. FAU is one of the most aggressive defensive teams in the country. Now, there were a lot of fouls. Let's get into the chat here. It's Jeffy. Says Temple shot 32 free throws and still lost. Thank you, Jeffy, for tuning in. I like that comment right there. They got to the line. They shot 32 free throws. That was one of the worst defensive games, and we still were able to come away with a win. What does that say? What does that say if FAU plays a perfect game, Hudson? What does that say about this team? Does this mean that the ceiling could maybe mean an NCAA tournament appearance?
I think so. I mean, if this isn't a perfect game for FAU, they put up 79 points, and Temple was able to get to the line 32 times, which they shouldn't even have gone up to that time because, as you mentioned, the terrible officiating. But like you said, if FAU plays a perfect game, I don't think anyone beats the Owls, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned, no one could beat the Owls if that's a perfect game. I would say that's a little bit of a stretch. There are some really good teams this year in college basketball, like an Arizona, like a Michigan, like a Nebraska. Those teams top heavy. Maybe FAU competes with those teams. I think there is still a long way to go. We have 47 live viewers in here. Guys, type what your thoughts on your instant reaction in the chat. We'll be getting to all the live comments in the chat. We want to hear from you. But Hudson, I want to talk about this FAU team showing resilience. We saw kind of this same game against Boston College down 9. We really were able to come away with the win. Boston College was a little bit of a different ending. That went to overtime. We were down 5 with under 30 seconds. But when it comes to this team showing fight and showing resilience, it reminded me of that Boston College game. I wanted to ask you, after this game, how much more confidence do you have in this team? Because now we are number 1 in conference. We are tied for first place in conference play.
Well, I have a lot of confidence in this team. If they get into a game that's very, very close down the stretch, they're not playing their best. I know that they have the capability to absolutely pull it out down the stretch. You're down, I don't know, at half, but you still know that you're in this game. That feeling, even in the locker room, that you're still in this game at half is an absolute unbelievable feeling. We talk about momentum in any sport. In any sport, momentum plays a crucial role. And to be able to have that confidence plays into the momentum, and to be able to know that you could come back and win in any point in the game is just absolutely huge and does wonders for any basketball team.
I 100% agree. And this grit that they showed, the determination that this team showed, fighting back. 57 people in here. We have another comment. Really appreciate this comment from CSG FAU saying, great show, JJ and Hudson. Can you break down how the conference tournament works? Yes, we will get into that. I'll actually pull that up right here. So CSG FAU, first off, thank you for that comment. So as you can see, these are the standings. I'm sharing my screen. Hudson, let me know when you can see my screen. I'm pulling it up right here. Sorry, not CSG FAU, CGS FAU with the comment.
I can see it.
So, sorry, wrong screen, this one right here. So, here's the conference standings. FAU is first in conference. All that matters is getting one of those top 2 spots in conference. That's all that matters. All you have to do is be in the top 2 of conference. That allows you to get a triple bye. A triple bye in the conference tournament. If you get a triple bye, that means you're automatically in the semifinals. If you know how it works, an auto bid if you win the conference tournament. So as long as you see FAU in one of these top 2 spots, then FAU only has to win 2 games to make the NCAA tournament. I think they could do it, Hudson. But we've talked a lot about the positives. I wanted to ask you, if they want to ensure that they do it, this definitely wasn't a perfect game. Shooting wasn't up to par today. You look at these stats, you kind of shake your head when you see the 3 for 19 from the perimeter. I know there were some good threes made late, but that's not what you want to see. That's 15% from 3. You're shooting 44% from the field, 30 for 67. That's not ideal either. I think shooting is one of the clear things FAU needs to clean up. But if you want to see FAU make that tournament, Hudson, what is one of those things that you think Coach Jacobs should be emphasizing this week on practice?
Well, I agree with you. I think that shooting is definitely a big thing. If you can't knock down those shots, you're not going to win a game. But if you have resilience and you have the thing that you can't teach, which is heart, to be able to fight down the stretch, FAU already has that. But I know that you mentioned something that Jacobs needs to say, and I 1000% agree with you. That is shooting. Although I feel that they did show a good shooting performance down the stretch, it was really the first half that they were kind of struggling.
I agree with you. I think, those back-to-back threes where you saw Pinto alone, that was a deep three that we saw. We saw him, get a pass, step into it with a lot of confidence, which is something we don't see, and him to knock that down. And then the next position, Kanan from the right wing does the same thing. Those are not shots that we've seen them shoot with that much confidence. And that's in a tie game situation. And both of them knock it down with ease. I love to see that late. I love to see how this team fought late. And Hudson, we talked about in previous games, this team not being able to overcome and win these close type of games. Today, they showed that they could. And I'm very proud of how this team fought today. Overall, Coach Jacobs with an amazing coaching performance. How much more confidence do you have in Coach Jacobs after today? Let's talk about his performance. How would you grade him? A, B, C, or D?
I'm giving Jacobs an A minus. I feel like that Coach Jacobs really did a great performance here with the sets and the plays that he had running for FAU. And honestly, I think that a reflection of a coach, one of the biggest actually reflections of a coach is, I know I'm kind of saying this a lot, is when you're able to come back and beat a team. But at half, you always say, what did the coach say at half? To be able to fire up these guys to make a comeback. And it seems like Coach Jacobs definitely said something that really hyped up and motivated the players here to be able to come back and win. And when you have a team that is able to rally behind a coach that they obviously really, really like, to be able to come back against a team like Temple here, I think that's a great performance. It shows an A minus here.
I would have to agree with you. I think Coach Jacobs, did a good job coaching. A lot of times, in the first half, I was questioning some of it. I don't think really the fouls are on him. He does really have to show the team to be disciplined and play aggressive defense without fouling, because sometimes you can get to a level where you're too aggressive, Hudson. And I think today FAU might have been a little bit too aggressive down low, because you do see, the large amount of free throws that they shot, 32 to be exact. Dan Zielinski leaves a comment. He says, Final Four or bust. That's a hot take right there. What are your thoughts on that, Hudson?
I don't know if it's Final Four or bust, to be honest with you. I think if FAU at least gets past the round of 64, then that's a great season for them. I think Final Four bust is a little bit of a stretch. We remember that one season where FAU found themselves in the Final Four and lost in a heartbreak to a Lamont Butler final shot. I think if they make it to the Final Four, JJ, actually a very, very, very successful season for what we've had. They didn't make the tournament last year. I mean, if they make the tournament this year and get past the round of 64, I believe that's a very successful season. Build off of that, bring Jacobs back, bring more players in, and develop the guys that we have. I think that will be a very successful season.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you with that for sure. I think, you can't really put an expectation on tournament success, because it is very up and down, the tournament. It is not a consistent tournament. Anything happens in the tournament. We see 6 teams beat ones. We see 15 beat 2. All I care about is getting in the tournament. If this FAU team makes the tournament, we're going to have to clap it up. And I think the way they're playing shows that they can do that, because they've been playing very solid basketball so far. 75 people in here. We want to hear your thoughts, your comments. We want to hear what you guys have to say. CSG FAU leaves another comment. He says, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. This wasn't an impressive shooting game. We won because of grit. LFG Owls. Love the comment. Thank you. Drew Shula says, this is worse than when we were cheated out of the SDSU game. He's clearly talking about the refs. I mean, that was crazy. I definitely do think if the refs were fair, we win that SDSU game, and we probably beat UConn in the championship, and we're 2023 champions. But yeah, thanks for that. Teddy G says, Williams will be welcome sight to see in the second half. Yeah, I mean, in the second half of the season, I do think that Williams will definitely be one of those guys. I think he's talking about Devin Williams. But yeah, very, very good performance for FAU today. Hudson, I wanted to ask you a little bit about when it comes to this FAU team. These four straight wins weren't against bad teams. These were against all teams that were in the top half of the conference. Now the schedule is only going to get easier when it comes down to the stretch. So I'm going to pull up the schedule so you all can see. Tulane is the one team we lost to in conference. It's a must win. I think we win that game. We then play South Florida. They've been really, really disappointing this year. I mean, they're getting. Let's pull up that score. They are down right now, or actually they're up. They were down like 25-12. Now they're winning against Wichita State. But still, South Florida is a team we should win. Then Memphis, East Carolina. These are hard, but look at this stretch. You play Tulsa. Tulsa is not that good. You play Rice, not that good. South Florida, again, not that good. UTSA may be the worst team in the country. They've won 3 games this season. I mean, then you get Charlotte and Wichita, 2 not very good teams. The schedule, as we've played the hardest stretch already. UAB might be the best team in the conference. Memphis is one of the top teams. Temple, I don't think, you're going to get a harder stretch than this. These next 4, yes, they're kind of hard. But South Florida and East Carolina should be winnable by double digits. These 2 I want to watch out for because Tulane's a really good team. But this Memphis game on the road is the only game I think we'll be underdogs in for the rest of the season. Do you see something else? I mean, maybe North Texas on the road? What do you think, Hudson?
I think we'll be favored in most of the games, but JJ, I think that Tulane game that is circled next on the calendar, I think you got to circle it twice because that is a huge game. I mean, at FAU, that is an unbelievable game, must-win game against the 12-5 Tulane, who we lost to by only 3 points. I mean, that was a very winnable game. This is also a very winnable game, and I think if we win this game, and you are definitely looking down the road and saying, man, we could definitely make a run here.
Yeah, I agree. Tulane's a really good team. I don't know how we lost. I don't know how we lost. We were up like 6 points with a minute left the last time we played that. But that's why college basketball is the best sport. Lead changes happen so often. Today we almost blew a lead. Temple had a chance to make this a 1-point game with under 10 seconds left. 3-ball didn't go, but I think FAU is going to be hungry for revenge. And this Coach Jacobs team, when they play teams twice in a season, they don't usually lose twice. You know that about him. You know how fiery and hungry of a guy he is. So hopefully we will see, an improvement from the last time we played them. But man, I'm so happy with how this FAU team played. Hudson, I wanted to briefly touch on football for a quick second. Caden Veldkamp and Easton Messer are both returning. How huge is that?
I think that's really huge. I mean, before this season, me and you both had doubts on him, but I think that Veldkamp has proved that he could be the guy. And Messer, he's had a couple of down games, but the games that he's had that really, really well, where he's played very, very good, has been outstanding. So when Veldkamp and Messer get going, I think that FAU will have a great season coming up in football.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to pull up this. This is actually really interesting. It's something that I just saw. New seed list 1 to 16. Look at this. FAU, and this I just saw. FAU's at 12 seed. I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. They're saying FAU is going to make the tournament, according to TM3 Bracketology, who's a very reliable source. As you can see, 521 likes on this. I mean, that's a very reliable source. He has FAU's at 12 seed, so very interesting there. But yeah, I agree. I think Veldkamp and Messer are 2 guys with a lot of talent. They could have gone to a lot of schools. Coming back here is definitely positive. 82 people in this live stream. 82 people. I want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Until then, I wanted to ask Hudson, final thoughts while we wait for some of these comments to pour in.
Final thoughts is the Owls are going to be scary. Watch out for them. And don't get into a close game with them down the stretch because they will definitely pull it out.
I agree for sure. Owl Nation, man, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Hudson, thank you so much for your time. Great job on the pod today. We have a lot of content more coming for you. Daily content on the Night Owls. Number 1, #1 FAU site. We are bringing you articles, podcasts, social media posts, and it only gets better because FAU is just on a winning streak. That's 4 straight wins. I couldn't be any more happy. Owl Nation, we will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Owls.